Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. A new year means new opportunities to grow, learn, and of course, to fly. Whether you're just starting out or you've been in the skies for years, it's a perfect time to set new aviation goals to take your skills to the next level. I'd like for us to reflect on what we did in 2024, as well as help you set new aviation goals for 2025. I'll share some practical tips on how you can set your aviation goals going forward, ways to stay motivated, and my own aviation journey from 2024, where I went from 0 hours to being a CFI with multiple ratings. Let's take off. Before we jump into planning for the future, it's important that we reflect on the past. 2024 was truly a transformative year for me. I started the year with 0 hours. I finished with my commercial certificate along with instrument and multi ratings. I also stayed committed to becoming a CFI, II, and MEI. It was a very intense year, but it reminded me that with the right amount of focus, dedication, and plan, you can achieve incredible things inside of a year. What about you? Did you solo for the first time? Did you pass a flight exam that you've been struggling with? What were your personal milestones? Reflecting on those achievements will help you realize just how far you've come. Make sure to leave those down in the comments. I would love to be able to celebrate those with you, along with the rest of the BTI community. So why is setting goals even important? Think of it as your yearly flight plan. Without a route, you're just flying around blind. Goals give you direction, focus, and something to aim for. When I started with 0 hours, my big goal was to become a commercial pilot. That was the destination. But I couldn't just focus on the finish line. I needed smaller checkpoints along the way, like passing written tests, earning my private certificate, passing my instrument rating, and logging those long cross-country hours to get that commercial license. As I went through each of these milestones, it helped me build confidence and momentum towards that end goal. And that's why these goals are so important. They take big dreams and turn them into actionable steps that'll help you succeed. Now let me share my personal goals for 2025. My biggest goal is to gain experience as a CFI. Last year, I earned my CFI, II, and MEI endorsements. But this year is all about applying those skills and endorsements to help other pilots achieve their dreams. I'm planning on building on my teaching skills, expanding my knowledge, and working with students to share the joy of aviation. It's a new challenge, and I'm really excited to take it on. What about you? Are you aiming for a license, exploring new destinations, or taking your first discovery flight? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your goals. Now that you're thinking about goals, let's talk about how to set them. Here are 5 simple steps to help get you started. Step 1, reflect and know where you're at. You have to know where you're at in order to get to where you want to be. Reflect on your current position. What milestones have you hit, or are you just getting started? And assess yourself as a pilot. What flight skills or knowledge gaps do you need to fill in order to achieve the goal that you're looking for in 2025? Think of this as a pre-flight assessment of the plane. You just don't want to hop in it and go. You want to make sure that everything's in order before you take off. Step 2, define your goal. So now that you know where you're at, you can start thinking about where you want to be. Let's just say your ultimate goal is to be an airline pilot. One thing that I like to do is to break my goals down into a SMART goal. Just like everything else in aviation, SMART is an acronym. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So we want to be specific. Specific means I want to be an airline pilot. Well, we can maybe even get more specific than that. I want to be an airline pilot with American, with Delta, with a regional in my area. You can become very specific with the type of airline pilot that you want to become. Measurable. So you're either going to become that pilot or you're not. So that's a very easy piece when we're looking at this part of our goal making. Achievable. With the amount of pilots that are needed in this space currently, I think it's very achievable for anyone who really dedicates and apply themselves to find a position at an airline. Relevant. So you do want to make sure that this goal is relevant to you and your goals of your lifestyle that you want to live, and think about how this is going to impact you overall. We'll get into this one a little bit more later as well. Time bound. So instead of just saying, I want to become a American Airlines pilot, we also want to add in at what point in time we want to achieve that goal. I want to become an American Airlines pilot by June 30th, 2025. And it's just that easy. SMART goals don't have to be super complicated, and they're not overly involved as sometimes they may look like. Step 3, break it down. Just say, I didn't realize how much it is involved in becoming a American Airlines pilot. And so now I need to break this goal down into those smaller milestones that we were talking about earlier. I'm still going to use that SMART goal formula in order to take this large goal, break it down, and then have these smaller achievable goals or milestones along the way. Let's say that I just finished up my private pilot's license. Well, I know I'm also going to need to get my instrument rating as well. As a part of my instrument rating, I also know there's 4 key factors into getting that instrument rating. I'm going to need to pass my knowledge exam. I'm going to need to log the required experience hours. I'm going to need to gain the required ground knowledge. And I'm also going to need to pass my practical test, also known as a check ride. So now I've got 4 new goals as a part of my instrument goal that's a part of becoming my airline pilot goal. This is how we break things down into these achievable milestones as we go forward. And I can continue to break these goals down even further. If I haven't passed my knowledge exam yet, I can set out who I'm going to go and get my study plan through, what I'm going to get on my test before I go and take that knowledge exam, as well as be time bound again to when I'm actually going to pass that knowledge exam. And that really leads us into step 4 of make a plan. So once I start to really break down my goals to those actionable day-by-day items, I really need to have an effective plan in place. If you're working a full-time job, you're going to need to assess when you're actually going to be able to dedicate time and how much time you can dedicate to these activities. So if you think that you only have 2 nights a week that you'll be able to dedicate, as well as maybe a few more hours on the weekend, then we need to start building out our study plan based on that. So a SMART goal in part 4 may look something like this. I'm going to study King's School's instrument course 5 hours a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays until I'm prepared to pass my exam by March 15th, 2025. Now you have a very specific milestone set for yourself that you've made a plan for that's going to then go back to that ultimate goal of you becoming an airline pilot. Step 5 is probably the most important piece, and that's staying committed. The unfortunate truth is progress doesn't happen in a linear fashion. Challenges are going to be inevitable, and sometimes growth can be exponential. But to achieve our goals, we have to handle our adversity just as well as we handle our successes. Staying committed through those hard times is what's going to help you ultimately achieve those goals. And don't worry if you have to move some of your time around in order to continue to achieve those goals. Even when you're facing very challenging times, I promise you in the end, it's going to be worth it. Aviation is a journey, not a destination, and every pilot's flight path is going to be different. And it's not just about achieving goals. It's about the experiences, the lessons, and the connections with people that you make along the way. And remember, every step counts, no matter how small. It's the intentional effort to get better that matters. Stay curious, keep learning, and never stop dreaming. This year is full of possibilities, and I can't wait to see what we achieve together. Thank you for joining me today. Let's make 2025 a year to remember. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're ready to chase after your aviation goals, don't forget to check out the video description, as I have a free guide on how to become a pilot made specifically for you. And as always, keep the grass off your wingtips, aviators.